So we're back in court, and I'm trying to get help protecting this child from Robin Nelson, and the judge declines to give the kid any protection. I don't know why he would do that. I gave him very serious information in a pleading, and even if I was lying, we should have still gotten a hearing, but I believe that's because he had joined up as part of this. That was on October 26th. Now, on October 24th, I also emailed Christian Hatfield. I'll show those emails tomorrow because I feel like it's important that you see what happened. I actually first emailed Steve Bronk because if you remember, I was told by William First when he was the DA to email Steve Bronk, and that was the garbage file. Anything I sent to them got thrown in the trash, which you'll see when you read the emails from Christian Hatfield. But it was really weird because the mom didn't have to respond. She did not have to respond to these documents. But that not handle not having the last word, even if it's a stupid word, even if it makes no sense. So just like usual, she had to fire back something. And every time she did that throughout the entirety of the case, all the way back to 2017, the dummy always gave me evidence. She gave me evidence in her response, where she admitted that she had no idea Robin Nelson was unlicensed and then claimed that she still retained federal licensure. Now, anybody who works in healthcare, including this lady, the one who just made that claim, who happens to be a nurse, knows that there's no such thing as federal licensure. But the fact that she was advocating for a woman who had committed a crime against her child to still have access to her child, while simultaneously claiming, with absence of any evidence, that my client did something horrific to this child, should tell you everything you need to know. She also admitted in that response that she had never attended a single session with Miss Nelson. And then also said, yeah, her mother had been the one going. But, she was never in a session. I thought, well, how would you know if she was in a session or not if you weren't there, dummy? So, I mean, it was getting laughable at this point to me. I thought, God, anybody with eyeballs can see what's going on. And instead, they all just decided to try to collectively gaslight me, which in hindsight is rather hilarious because there's nobody better trained in domestic abuse tactics than me. I was the domestic violence victim's attorney for pretty much my entire practice there. Like literally, there's no one in the district who's more up to speed on how to combat gaslighting than your girl, which is why I'm still alive and still opening my mouth and talking about this, because they're all doing exactly what abusers do. I realized something really interesting while I was going through this case, which is that the tactics the government was using against me were exactly what abusers do to their victims. I can demonstrate it in paperwork and evidence and documents. It's exactly the same thing. I can demonstrate it in court recordings with William First. Yeah, we'll get there. I'm jumping ahead of myself. But no, so mom filed off this document, and she had a ghostwriter help her. Now, I don't know if you know this, but attorneys are allowed to assist with the drafting of pleadings. We don't have to officially come on the case, but we could get paid just to help somebody who's representing themselves, which the mother was at this point in time, just draft their documents. So, lo and behold, who do you think helped the mother draft her pleading against the father asking for Robin Nelson to still have access to the child? Well, my friends, that was none other than Dolores County District Attorney Deputy Drew Buffington, who was simultaneously prosecuting my client in the criminal matters and also drafting documents in the family law matter, which I believe is a pretty significant conflict of interest. But Judge First didn't do anything about that. He didn't do anything about that. So they filed their response. I immediately filed off a reply where I said to the judge, this appears to be parental alienation. This appears to be a community-based parental alienation, probably one of the most significant we've ever seen in the state of Colorado, Judge. This is really dangerous. And, if these people are so worried about protecting this kid from child abuse, why aren't they worried about him having access to Robin Nelson? Robin Nelson, we have documented child abuse. I'm giving it to you. Never heard from William First on that. So, I decided to try to email Christian Hatfield. And, like I said, Steve Bronk first. But, the hell with it. I'm going to put the emails up there. What do I have to lose? That guy's not even in office anymore anyway. And Jeremy Reed knows all about this. He has every single email. He has every single file. In fact, There's been additional victims who have complained to him about things they've been subjected to as a result of what these people are doing in this case. And Jerry Reed has done absolutely nothing. I've seen the emails. I know what complaints were made. He's done absolutely nothing. Because Jeremy Reed knew about this back in 2023 when he was cooling his heels waiting to run for re-election. Because he's buddies with all of them. Now, Jeremy Reed could still do the right thing. I'm not judging him for what he did when he was not in office. I have absolutely no beef with what he did when he was a private citizen, even though I think, well, I shouldn't say I have absolutely no beef with him. As a moral, ethical person, yeah, he's a piece of shit. But he wasn't under any duty to do anything at that point in time. But he sure is now. And I did a hell of a good investigation for him in his office. All they have to do is take my evidence. I've given them clues throughout all of these recordings where they can find this stuff. So it begs the question, why isn't Jeremy Reed doing anything? Yeah, I think I'm just going to show you these emails. I'm done talking for the day. Bye. See you next time.